All right, third and final day of notes for weathering and erosion. Red pen or pencil, landslides, sinkholes. Landslides, capital L-A-N-D. Slides, S-L-I-D-E-S. There should not be a space there. That was my mistake, so make sure it's one word. Landslides and line 3 line. Sinkholes, capital S-I-N-K H-O-L-E-S. Landslides and sinkholes. Switch back to our pencil. The ongoing process of erosion keeps the landscape changing. In general, such destructive forces act very slowly. However, sometimes changes happen much faster. Landslides are one example. Landslides are large masses of rocks and sediments that tumble down a steep slope. Mud flows, rock falls, and avalanches are examples of landslides. Landslides happen suddenly, sometimes in minutes. Although gravity is the main cause of a landslide, other destructive forces are involved. Erosion from rivers, rain, glaciers, or ocean water may steepen a slope and loosen sediments. If the sediments become soaked with water, they may slide more easily. Any disturbance, such as a minor earthquake, can create cracks or shake rocks loose. This action can start landslides. Okay, so over here let's do landslides, L-A-N-D, S-L-I-D-E-S, equal, and then let's give some examples that they gave. Mud flow, M-U-D, F-L-O-W, rock fall, R-O-C-K, rock, new word fall, F-A-L-L, comma, indent, avalanche, A-V-A, L-A-N-C-H-E, avalanche. Okay, what else? These all happen, H-A-P-P-E-N, suddenly, S-U-D-D-E-N-L-Y, squiggle, minutes, M-I-N-U, my paper's moving on me. Let me use my elbow. U-T-E-S, minutes. So normally, all the weathering and erosions activities or agents can take thousands or hundreds of years, or even hundreds of thousands and millions of years to happen. But when you're talking about minutes, that happens very suddenly. Let's put next to avalanche, parentheses, earthquake, E-A-R-T-H-Q-U-A-K-E. Okay, so landslides include things like mud flows, rock falls, and avalanches. And especially something like an earthquake can kind of shake that dirt or mud or sediment loose, and it will flow downhill. And it also especially happens if it's wet or there's water. All right, volcanoes can also cause landslides. Volcanic eruptions can deposit ash and other materials on steep slopes. Heavy rains added to this material can cause a landslide. The tremendous force of tons of falling matter in a landslide can quickly destroy homes and businesses and bury highways. Landslides can also destroy vegetation and habitats, harming ecosystems. Okay, so next to earthquake, you know what? Let's go ahead and erase that little parentheses. Turn it into a slash and write volcano, V-O-L, and I have to slide it over here, C-A-N-O, volcano. So volcano is such a massive eruption or a massive force. It's similar to an earthquake where it causes shaking, which can in turn cause avalanches and landslides. Okay, these things are tremendous forces, T-R-E-M-E-N-D-O-U-S, tremendous force, F-O-R-C-E. They are extremely strong. Tremendous force, comma, destructive. DESTRUCT IVE. They are very destructive. Okay, you have read that chemical weathering creates caves in certain types of rock. This process can take thousands of years. However, after a cave has formed, the rock above the cave often has little support. At some point, this rock may collapse, forming a sinkhole. So these two pictures, this one's more of a landslide where you can see it slid down the side of a hill. And this one's more of a sinkhole, a small cave formed underneath, and eventually it just sunk right in. When sediments slide down a steep slope, buildings on them slide too. This landslide took place in Southern California. Sinkhole is a very descriptive term. Land above weathered rock sinks into a hole. This sinkhole occurred in Florida. Okay, so sinkholes, SINKHOLES. Do a backwards arrow. Caves, CAVES. So sinkholes can be caused by caves forming underneath them. And we learned about how those form earlier in the lesson. All right, let's see if we can answer this question. How does a landslide occur? A landslide occurs when you have loose sediment and the sediment flows downhill. Okay, so let's put that in. We need to add that. Loose, LOOSE, sediment, SEDIMENT. Something like an earthquake or a volcano can shake the ground, causing mud flows, rock falls, and avalanches. Landslides can happen very suddenly in the course of minutes. They are a tremendous force and can cause a lot of destruction. Okay, there. Now we can answer that question. All right, visual summary. These are the huge main things we need to make sure that we have in our notes. Earth's surface features are worn down by destructive forces, such as weathering and erosion. Weathering can be mechanical or chemical. Okay, did we talk about surface features? That's in the main idea, surface features. That is also somewhere down here. Where is surface features? I know we talked about it in our weathering. Okay. Destructive forces. We know that landslides and sinkholes are destructive forces, just like all the weathering and erosion, the cracking, the crumbling, water dissolving minerals. We talked about weathering, it's breaking into pieces. And then we talked about erosion, that's carrying away the sediments. So weathering breaks apart pieces and creates sediment. Okay, let's do that. Weathering, breaking into pieces, arrow, sediment, SEDIMENT. So weathering breaks into pieces, creating sediment. Sediment is small rocks and sand and silt and tiny little pebbles and things. Erosion is when that's carried away. Mechanical or chemical, we know that mechanical weathering is things like moving air and water, blowing sand, it cracks and crumbles things, roots can break rocks apart, burrowing animals can cause issues, freezing and thawing causes weathering, and even more pressure or relieving or less pressure can cause weathering. Chemical weathering is when the composition of rocks change. Usually that means water dissolving minerals, so an acidic water can dissolve rocks and leave behind caves. So let's put caves and an arrow pointing at it because that tends to leave behind caves. Erosion can be caused by wind, water, waves, and ice. Sometimes erosion is caused by two or more of these agents working together. Okay, did we talk about in erosion? Did we talk about wind, water, waves, and ice? Erosion, wind in the deserts and dunes, water, oceans and rivers, ice, glaciers that push or dent, and then waves, well, that's the ocean, so ocean/waves, WAVES. And then we know that it doesn't always have to be just one. Multiple of them can work together. Let's write that somewhere. Can be greater than the number 1 agent. So there can be more than one agent. Gravity, along with other erosion agents, can cause landslides. Because of their tremendous force, landslides are destructive to both human and wildlife habitats. Okay, so do we have that gravity is an agent of erosion? Yes. Do we know it can cause landslides? Yes. Do we know that it's a tremendous force? Yes. And do we know that it is destructive? Yes. Okay. That's it. We are all done with that entire Chapter 2, Lesson 1. Great job persevering with the growth mindset. And roar Wildcats! Remember to turn this in your e-binder.